Welcome back to another exciting episode of Mark's Side of the Ring. I am your host, back in one piece from Las Vegas, Nevada, Miguel Minetti, alongside my two boys, Fred and Nick. What's going on, gentlemen?
What's happening?
Glad
to see you made it back.
We should be saying welcome back to you. Fred and I were here last week. We killed it. I don't know what you were doing, but
I showed up sick. You couldn't even show up. Man.
That's right. Fred was sick.
We had a sick Fred and we had a sick in the head Nick. Killed the show last week.
And we probably had a sick in the head Miguel in Vegas too.
Well, I was busy, living it up in Las Vegas. It was a great time. Happy to be back with you guys. And just so, big news happened since I was there. It actually broke while I was sitting at the Cosmopolitan, Las Vegas, the home of SummerSlam 2021 at the new Allegiant Stadium. So, got a lot of stuff to talk about. Vegas was had a great time. Looking forward to discussing all things.
I think you got that story wrong. Didn't you say you were drinking a Cosmopolitan when you heard the story of SummerSlam being at Allegiant Stadium? I think you were drinking a Cosmo.
I was actually drinking 5 of them. I was like, 5-time fisting. No, we were at the Cosmo. We were getting ready to go to the pool party. News broke about SummerSlam being at Allegiant Stadium, which is going to be awesome. And we got a really cool show for you guys today. We're actually in the spirit of Las Vegas and in the spirit of SummerSlam coming to you live at Allegiant Stadium this upcoming August, which is going to be an awesome Saturday night edition of the pay-per-view. We're going to have a little fun with this episode and talk about our fantasy booking dream SummerSlam card. So yes, you heard it right. All 3 of us, we're going to make our predictions on what we feel should be the most explosive pay-per-view of 2021, seeing as WWE, a lot of rumor and innuendo that WWE is going to be making SummerSlam this year's actual WrestleMania. So I'm fired up. I'm ready to talk about this. Boys, you guys ready to go on this?
Hell yeah.
Let's roll.
All right. Let's do this. So like I had just mentioned, WWE officially finally announced, we knew it was coming, but finally announced that SummerSlam is going to be taking place at the brand new stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada, where the Oakland Raiders, I called them Oakland Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders are playing at starting this upcoming season.
Don't worry. I do it all the time on Sharp Bets, so don't worry about it.
I know. I don't know if I'll ever get used to calling them the Vegas Raiders, but the Las Vegas Raiders are going to be kicking off their season this year. But before they do, WWE will make the first stop in that stadium. I don't know, actually. Is it the first event to take place in that stadium with even concerts and stuff, you think?
No, there is something August 1st. Some concert is going to be there. And then, obviously the Raiders played there last season with very limited fans. Right. But it's only been Raiders games, and I think the UNLV had played their season there, I think.
But don't forget, Fred, to your point, the Raiders played there last year, but we don't know anything about the acoustics of the stadium because they had no fans. So
right, there's no fans.
It's going to be the first time. I mean, with the concert, you'll be able to hear it, but that won't be on TV. This will be the first time. Yeah, you'll be able to hear the crowd at that stadium, so it'll be interesting.
So this will be the first time with a full house televised event. Yeah,
right. First time with a full house televised event, exactly. So we broke the news that it's happening August 14th, which is August 21st, which is a Saturday, which is going to be great. And like I had just mentioned, WWE has been a lot of rumor and innuendo putting out there that this is going to be not only the biggest party of the summer, but possibly the biggest party of the year. So we had talked offline, the 3 of us, about how big this show is supposedly going to be. So before we get into the specifics of it, Nick, I'll ask you first, what are you expecting from this year's show? Do you truly think it's going to blow away WrestleMania?
I think they're going to try to, I think that's the plan. I think that they're going to make this, this is the first time with 100% capacity, as you've mentioned before. I'm excited to see it. I think that the stars are aligning and everything's coming into place for them to have the returns of a lot of those nostalgia guys or just returning superstars, maybe a Brock Lesnar, maybe a John Cena, maybe even an Undertaker in a cameo appearance. You never know, but it's all on the table now because there's no flight restrictions. There's really nothing going on. It's interesting to me, and this is one of the first times that WWE aired a pay-per-view on a Saturday, that it's going up against another pay-per-view taking place in Las Vegas, and that's Manny Pacquiao against Errol Spence. So in a boxing match. And of course, I don't think it'll have any competition in viewership capacity, because we all know boxing shit. Even if you watch that farce of a fight this past Sunday, it didn't take place until 11 o'clock at night. Manny Pacquiao and Spence aren't getting into the ring until at least midnight, so it's not going to impact buys, but ticket sales. There is going to be a majority of people that are going to be tuned in and they're live to watch that fight. So it'll be interesting to see how they go head to head. We'll say head to head. But I think it's going to be WrestleMania, the WrestleMania that we should have got last year. To a certain extent, the WrestleMania we should have got this year. It was great to see some crowds back, but this is going to be huge.
Now, I want to ask you really quick. I know this isn't a boxing show, but you are, for those of you that don't know, Nick is actually a really big boxing fan. How big of a match is this? I mean, I know Pacquiao, right? He's probably the second most famous fighter behind Mayweather. Is this like a really anticipated fight coming up, or not as much? I don't know anything about boxing.
I think in the saying, every great legendary fighter has one more great fight in them. You're talking about a Manny Pacquiao that's 10 years older than Errol Spence. Errol Spence probably ranked as one of the top three. You probably go Canelo, Terrence Crawford, and Errol Spence, somewhere in that, depending on how you feel, as three of the best fighters pound for pound in boxing. So it looks like has all the makings of a stepping stone fight, but you never know. I think this isn't a prediction show, like you said, and certainly not a boxing show. I'd be shocked if Manny Pacquiao won, just based on the fact that Errol Spence is in his prime and is as good as it gets right now. But it's an exciting fight. If you're a boxing fan, it's an exciting event, and I'm looking forward to. I'll be in AC for it, not Las Vegas, because that's where the Atlantic City Boxing Hall of Fame is taking place. So I'm looking forward to watching the fight alongside. I might be like you two, fucking marking out for your wrestlers, Shane McMahon and everybody. I'm going to be marking out over professional boxers at the Atlantic City Boxing Hall of Fame. So I'm even staying at the hotel they're at. So I'm going to be sitting in the lobby like Fred, fucking marking out, trying to get pictures and autographs of everybody. So
very nice.
Yeah, and the reason I asked is because I'm curious to see what it's going to look like that night as far as things are lining up. But like we had mentioned before, I think the nice thing is that the actual fight probably won't take place until after SummerSlam is over. So for the crossover,
100%.
Yeah, so for someone like yourself who's a crossover fan with both sports, you can technically order or watch the SummerSlam show on Peacock, and hopefully it ends like 11:15, 11:30. And like you had mentioned, Pacquiao's probably not going to go on to that time. So it seems like the stars are aligning perfectly for fans that are sitting at home to be able to watch both comfortably, which is great. Go ahead.
No, I had read a report that they're even planning on ending it early enough so that people can physically go to both if they wanted to.
Could you imagine having tickets for both that night? I mean, what a hype night that must be.
I mean, it's insanity. I won't, but I will. I'll tell you what. I'm going to be in town. I'm going to watch it somewhere. It'll still be happening. So, and what's cool is because SummerSlam is going to end Vegas time around.
I was just going to make that point, but keep going.
Around, say, 8 o'clock, 8:30 the latest. So by the time, and I believe the fight will be starting like Vegas time. You get what I'm saying? Like 8 o'clock Vegas time. Not, it sounds confusing.
So I was going to say the same thing. So if Manny Pacquiao and Spence don't come on until midnight, that's 9 o'clock our time. So assuming that this SummerSlam is going to be WrestleMania-esque, and we're looking at possibly 6 to 7 hours, that means SummerSlam's not going to start until 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I mean, we're going to get an early SummerSlam if we think it's going to go 6 or 7 hours, yet they're not going to get into the ring until Manny Pacquiao and Spencer.
What's interesting is that the ticket time so far on Ticketmaster says it says 6:30, but that's 6:30 Eastern, right? So that would be
3:30.
3:30. So that would mean that the pay-per-view should technically start around. Usually it would be 7 o'clock Eastern.
Right.
So who knows? But you know, things. This is all early stuff that they've posted. The poster though that they put out said 8 o'clock, which I found very interesting because the pay-per-views have been starting at 7, especially the classics. They were always an hour earlier. Right. So if it starts at 8, SummerSlam could potentially just be a 3-hour show, not a 4-5 hour marathon show like we've grown accustomed to the last few years.
And this would not be the first time that a boxing pay-per-view was preempted by something else going on at a certain time. I forget the fight, but I distinctly remember UFC, a big UFC pay-per-view going on the same time as a boxing pay-per-view. And the main event of that UFC fight didn't, I guess, either started late or whatever the case may be. But that boxing main event didn't take place until 1:30 in the morning, our time, Eastern, because, and they said it right on the broadcast, we want to give fans enough time to finish the UFC and jump on over into boxing. So this wouldn't be the first time that boxing said, hold on a minute, we're going to wait until, you know, we can get as many buys and as many views as possible. Because let's face it, boxing is not like any other sport or sports entertainment. Boxing is a very, very top-heavy event. You know, nobody cares about what's going on the undercard. Nobody's even going to know what's going on the undercard. It's not the UFC and it's not professional wrestling. So you're going to really only care about one thing, and that's the main event, which won't take place until midnight. And if WWE doesn't end until 11:30 our time, that event might not be taking place until 12:30, 1 o'clock again.
Yeah, I think you made a good point on that because with boxing, nobody, right, the only thing you watch is the main event.
Every one is a one-match show, as they say in wrestling. Oh, that's a one-match show, you know.
Yeah.
Boxing, that's all it is a one-match show, you know.
Yeah, true.
In UFC, it's kind of like that, but
yeah, pretty much. I mean, you know,
UFC's. I mean, we can talk about this for fucking forever, but UFC is different because everybody's under the same umbrella, and one man makes the matches and sets everything up. It's not like boxing where there's 18 champions in every division.
Yeah, I still don't understand. I honestly, Nick, one day off air, I'm gonna have to talk because I don't understand, especially because I always have the WWE way in wrestling and how, like, I'm thinking, how the fuck is this? There's like 18 world, yeah, like you said, 18 world champ, or like, and there's no company.
It's as corrupt. It's as corrupt a sport as you could possibly.
Like, there's no boxing like there is no WWE of boxing or UFC of boxing, right? Okay, because I used to say to myself, well, what's the, you know, say the WBC, or WCB World Championship Boxing. I don't know, you know, I'm making up a name, you know, like. There is none, right? There is no like.
Are typically the WBC. Well, so you have the IBF. There's 3 big titles in the division, and then you also have like the ring title. You have just it's. We'll talk off air. Maybe we'll do a show just dedicated to boxing.
It's so confusing to me. I can't get a grasp on, like, you know, there's no company that presents the pay-per-view. Like, I just doesn't. I'm
sure all of our fans on here who love wrestling are so excited for this.
Come back. We're going to talk wrestling now. Come back.
That was just a little preempt for Nick, who loves his boxing. But let's do some fantasy booking, boys. And I know we're going to probably have a lot of the same, if not similar, matches that we're looking forward to, and we're hoping and hyping that WWE puts out there for us. But let's start with, what do we think should be the main event? When I say main event, I mean the last match to close the show, right?
It should be what it will be.
Right. It should be what it will be. So, Fred, why don't you go out there, my friend, and just kind of give it to us. What do you think is going to be the match of the night?
If you've been living under a rock for the past 3 weeks, it should be, and I'm going to say here, will be John Cena versus Roman Reigns for the Universal Heavyweight Championship.
And that's exactly what I think too, right? And Nick as well too. So let's cut to the chase on this, right? John Cena, Roman Reigns, a massive marquee match. Besides The Rock and CM Punk, I would say this is the biggest match for Roman Reigns, right?
100%.
It's absolutely the biggest match for Roman Reigns.
I remember being mad when they made this in 2017 for No Mercy. I was like, why the fuck are they wasting this huge match at No Mercy, the pay-per-view after SummerSlam? They should have done it at SummerSlam. Cena was facing friggin' Baron Corbin in the opener, whatever. But I remember saying, And then I was like, why didn't they just save it for Mania at least whatever the next year was going to be? And then when Cena started being there less, I said, oh, they knew something we didn't know. They knew Cena wasn't going to be around. They wanted to get this match out there. And it was LA. Okay. But I thought we would see this match again much sooner. And we haven't.
And it's taken almost 4 years for us to see them.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, nothing's
almost a month to 4 years. In September, it'll be 4 years. Yeah.
Right, exactly. So nevertheless, the match isn't confirmed, but we're all hoping and praying that it's heading that way. Which
I'd argue though that it's his biggest match. I wouldn't necessarily think that it's the biggest match of his career for 3 reasons. First reason is because they've already fought before. So I just feel like when you get a match like when it was Cena versus Rock, and you've never seen it before, it was a monster match. So it already has like a feel of it's not down just a peg, but the smallest of pegs, because I'll be the first one in line to tell you that I would love to watch that match. I thought their promos, and I told you guys a couple weeks ago when the rumors were coming out that these two were going to fight, and I said, I started pulling up some of their promos, and if you haven't watched them before or you're not a huge wrestling fan and you just kind of tune along for the nostalgia stuff, watch their promos leading into that No Mercy thing where as stiff can be. Yeah, so I'm really excited for that. Yeah, it was great. The other stuff.
Imagine now.
I know. It's going to be even better, man.
Cena was kind of owning Roman. Roman would get some good one-liners in there, but Cena was now.
I'm surprised that you, Fred, too, would think that this is a bigger match to Roman Reigns than fighting The Undertaker at WrestleMania.
Oh, no. I mean, listen. No, I still think if Undertaker were to I'm not saying that this is his biggest match of his career altogether. This is like the biggest match he can have right now in 2021, with the exception of Rock.
The Rock. Okay, that's fair. I think that's fair.
Punk, maybe.
That's not going to happen, though.
No, but a match. I will say a match against Taker now. I mean, it was huge in 2017, but it was what it was. Taker was in bad shape. Yeah. Roman was what he was at that time. This Roman versus a healthy Undertaker right now, I do think would be the biggest match besides The Rock.
Yeah, but the reason it's not is because Undertaker's not what he was, right? And what he was in 2017 when he fought Roman. It was an okay match at best.
He's actually better now, probably.
Well, maybe.
Than right then, at that.
Safe to say that him and Cena, even though they fought one time, it's definitely one of the biggest matches.
I agree. I misunderstood. It's the biggest match you can have right now outside of The Rock.
Besides Rock, this is that's why I'm surprised they're doing it at SummerSlam. But because they want to make SummerSlam so big, this is the second biggest match WWE has in their pocket right now.
Right. So with that being said, right, the $1 million question becomes, who needs to win this match?
Roman.
Right? But will he? Because they're going to tell a great story, right? It's John Cena chasing the 17th championship, putting him as an all-time record, right? Beating Ric Flair's record for the most titles in WWE history versus the hottest heel in the company, Roman Reigns. So is it an automatic layup? And I agree with you. I think Roman needs to win, but I'm going to play devil's advocate here for you both. Is it an automatic layup that Roman Reigns is going to defeat John Cena? Because to me, there's doubt in my mind.
Like I said,
not a layup.
I said it's not a layup. Cena could win, but ever since Edge did not win that damn championship at WrestleMania, 10 years to the day, nobody's beaten Roman. Period.
No, somebody has to beat him one day.
I'll play devil's advocate to that point.
He's gonna retire with that belt. He's gonna die.
So he's going to lose eventually, and the one person I do not think he's going to lose to is The Rock at WrestleMania. But if he were to lose, and again, I'm playing devil's advocate. Gun to my head, if I'm betting, I'm betting Reigns alongside with Fred. But playing devil's advocate, he would not lose any momentum losing to John Cena in his in his title reign. So I think if you are going to take the belt off him for just a little bit, he's going to win it back. I think that. Like, he's going to have the title going into WrestleMania, but I do think that he could lose to John Cena, and I don't think he loses any momentum whatsoever.
I think that's why there's a chance that John Cena is going to win this match. And I would pick Roman, right? When I'm a betting man, and I am a betting man, I would pick Roman, but there is a part.
Not a very good one because you're back on the show after Vegas, but
I know, not a very good one. But there is a part of me that says John Cena is going to win this match. I think if it goes down.
Listen. You never say never. I am very unconfident in betting against Roman ever since WrestleMania.
The more I think about it, I think I want Cena to win now.
I wouldn't be mad.
It won't hurt Roman.
I wouldn't be mad if either one won. I'm just excited for the match. I don't care who wins, to be honest. Not that I don't care.
The promos will be great.
Oh, they're going to be.
Build-up's going to be beautiful. Chef's kiss to that build-up.
Build-up will be great. Match will be great. Everything. Fans, the electricity in that building, it's going to be phenomenal.
Pause me for a sec. Wait, pause for a sec. I envision and I picture Cena and Roman reminiscent of Rock Hogan from 18. I see that stare down and that buzz. That's going to be the closest thing. Maybe Rock and Cena at 28. That electricity, but the electricity
that was electric.
Yeah, but I could feel that electricity right now.
I know.
But I think there's a heightened sense of electricity for that fight, because even though we've seen it, because this will be max capacity, as Miguel said, like they've been waiting for this. So I think that the max capacity in that arena for the first big event plays into the fact that the electricity is going to be at an all-time high and
100%.
Could rival Rock and Hogan, only in the sense that what we've dealt with over the last 18 months. I think all things equal, it's impossible to even come close to that electricity. But I think with everybody coming back, I think you're right.
And, we were talking about the timing of everything with the fight and all that, and, the length of the pay-per-view. I really don't want them to make it too long, because I don't want that tired out, oh, my God, oh, the main event's on, cool, finally. I want that crowd fucking ready.
5 hours.
Jacked for that main event. I don't want them tired and exhausted because they've seen 10 other matches.
Fred's fired up.
I'm excited, baby. I'm excited. We're back in business.
Fred, are you going? Fred, are you going?
Yes.
You're going to go for sure, no matter what.
Yeah, alone like a schmuck, but I'm going, baby.
He's going. I'll be coming home from St. Thomas.
I don't have tickets yet. I have a hotel and a flight. Tickets go on sale next Friday. So, knock on wood. God, please.
So, let's talk about what I believe is going to be the co-main event, right? And I think we're going to be on the same team.
I just haven't been this excited about anything in a while. I'm sorry. I'm just so excited.
You have every right to be.
Yeah, dude. I am excited.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's been a long time. We deserve this as fans, right? So
we deserve it.
This co-main event, it's going to be Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley, right? It has to be.
I'm interested to talk about this one. I'll tell you why.
Tell me what your thoughts are.
So my thoughts are, I hope it happens. And I was confident it was. Now, I take everything that Dave Meltzer says with not even a grain of salt, not even a pinch, a frog's hair of salt. So, but he did come out in a report today saying that as of a week ago, there were no plans for Bobby Lashley to face Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. Now, again,
I don't buy it.
I don't necessarily buy it either, but I was very confident before that. Like, I just thought, like, it's probably going to definitely happen. The fact that he's reporting that it wasn't on the books scares me a little bit, but I'm not like, oh, there's no way that's happening. I'm still hopeful that it will, or at least Brock versus somebody. Brock and Drew in a rematch from WrestleMania. That needs to still happen at some point.
I was going to ask you both, if it's not Brock versus Bobby, are you just excited to see Brock back? Because I would be fine if he fought anybody.
Brock's money.
I do want it to be Lashley, but I'd be excited just for
hell. Bring back Heath Slater. Put Brock and Heath Slater with his kids on the line. I don't give a shit.
I don't give a shit about your kids.
I know, Nick. You're a big Brock Lesnar guy. You're like me, right? Like you.
Yeah, I love Brock. Brock's arguably one of the greatest of all times. I think
he's the most marquee fighter they probably ever had.
When he's on, you want to watch him because there's just nothing like him.
In Vegas, where he, king of the UFC 10 years ago, whatever.
He's as real gets. But I'll say this: I'm so tired of Drew McIntyre. I mean, I got to be honest. I was like big on him, and now I'm starting to be like I cannot watch Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre again. I can't do it. You got to give me something else. You know what?
You know what it is. Well, he hasn't had a lot of a good opponent. Not that I don't want to say that he hasn't had good opponents, but they haven't had a plethora of opponents for Drew. And besides WrestleMania, his entire run has been in front of nobody. He's literally been on top in front of nobody. Now, granted, you could say Shawn Michaels was on top in front of nobody in '96, but that's because the crowds weren't coming. But different story. He just, I think Drew would be in a different position, and he's not in a bad position, obviously. But as far as what you're saying, you're sick of him. He's lost his momentum.
I just don't want to see the match again.
I don't think he would be in that position as bad.
I'd rather them do this match one last time when it's the last pay-per-view with them.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think it's cool. Hell in a Cell, put them in. I think they'll have a great Hell in a Cell match.
And it's going to be, they said it, the last time ever this match happens, right?
Yeah.
It's the last pay-per-view without fans, God willing. So let's end it there. But let's bring it back to Lashley. I want to ask you guys a couple questions about Lashley versus Brock Lesnar. I mean, do you guys think this is the showdown match just as much, or maybe a hair below Cena Roman? Because to me, I'm like, I've been dying to see this match for like 10 years now. I think it's more anticipated than anything, just over the from a longevity perspective.
I think it was 5 years ago, and I still think it's anticipated. But right now, with as hot as Roman is, and Cena as big of a star as he is, and as long as Cena hasn't been at WWE, the circumstances where we are now have made Cena and Roman bigger than Lashley.
Yeah, but you say Cena's right, lack of being from WWE. Don't forget, Cena and Brock, last time were on the same show. They're both their last appearance was WrestleMania 36.
Yeah, but before that, he didn't wrestle not once in 2019, don't forget.
True. Nick,
and he only appeared twice. He did Mania, and he did Super Showdown. Not Super Showdown. That was in 18. He did Mania, and he did the Raw reunion in July in Tampa. And then that was it until he came back in February for those couple of weeks and did WrestleMania. But yeah, I mean, yeah, no, you're right. Brock hasn't been back since Mania either. I don't even mean, like, I just feel like the circumstances, Cena Roman is bigger, but Lashley and Brock is right there.
I can't believe that they – yeah, I agree. I can't believe that they made me care about Bobby Lashley again to a point after all of that horrible stuff, whether it be the Leo Rush shit or whether it be the whole Lana thing or whatever the case may be. I mean, he was just – I could not care less about Bobby Lashley, and just the simple fact that we're debating levels of excitement on him versus Brock Lesnar. I think you got to give WWE at least a little bit of credit there in making him a believable ass kicker again. Because honestly, outside of Brock Lesnar, the most believable person on that roster is Bobby Lashley. I mean, he's also a mixed martial art fighter. Right. There's nothing to not believe about him. The guy is an absolute monster of a human being. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited for the match just like you guys are. I'm not as excited to the level of Reigns and Cena because I think you combine those two, their wrestling talent is greater than the wrestling talent of Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley combined. But I'm excited for both matches.
They're going to be very different matches, right? Yeah. Lesnar and Lashley is going to be a brawl. And Nick, I'll say to your point about having WWE make you care about Bobby Lashley again. You got to give a lot of credit to MVP. I mean, he's been one hell of a manager. He's
manager, yes. I did not want to see him wrestle, but manager, yes. He's been
Me and Miguel,
if they were smart, because Cena, they won't do it, but Cena and Roman Reigns could fight for an hour, and I think it would be an entertaining hour. Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar should follow the model of Goldberg, Brock Lesnar the second time at WrestleMania, because that was just a car wreck, and it was actually arguably one of the best matches on that pay-per-view because of just how action-packed it was. They told a great story, and it's one of the times that I'll give Goldberg credit on a short match. It was entertaining for as long as it was. So I would follow that model if you're going to follow a model for those two.
I think that was the best match he's had since
without question.
And it was only like 5 minutes, but it was done so well that it felt
100%
longer. They hit all their spots.
I agree.
But yeah, me and Miguel, it's funny you mentioned about Lashley because we were just saying how it's amazing. I can't believe that they managed to get Lashley to a point where he actually is so hot right now. Because it seems so bleak. I thought for sure, even if they push him, okay, how it's going to be hard to really, get back on that level. But he's there. He's there. And he has such a cool factor to him that you saw on complete display during the contract signing. I really enjoyed the contract signing this week on Raw, I have to say.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's WWE. You got to give him a lot of credit, in my opinion, for making Bobby a very believable household name these days. So hopefully that match takes place. And then I think the third match that I think is a huge actual, this one will be a rematch from WrestleMania's past years. I think we're going to get Sasha versus Bianca too.
I do too.
Which is going to be another tremendous match. Because Fred, you and I were there for that, right? The electricity for that match, besides the main event on Sunday night, the triple threat, to me was the most hype match of the entire show, and it delivered hard. When Bianca 100%. Won that title, the place erupted, right? And I know we talked about this on our experience.
She had a WrestleMania moment.
It was a huge WrestleMania moment, right? Yeah. And not only did they actually had only an okay build to their match, but they put on a hell of a performance. And now I think the story sells itself. I mean, that moment, we still talk about it, Fred and I, Bianca whipping Sasha with her hair. That crack you hear, like
I bet you guys do still talk about it.
Dude, I'm not even kidding you. In the stadium, it was like a thunderous moment when she whipped her hair.
That was cool because it's a part of her body, so like she could use it.
It was just sickening, like that thud you heard. I was like, oh my God, that still hurt so bad. And then you saw the scar on her afterwards, the mark on her. This match has itself, right? Do you guys agree with me on that?
I'm not saying because I know Fred's going to agree with you, but I'll let him share his points in a second. But I would just say this. So I'm excited for that match too, if it's the match. But we're talking about them wanting to make this bigger than WrestleMania. So I think, and I've seen pictures of the most recent Becky Lynch, but she's ready to go. And I think that she could be involved. There's other avenues. I don't know if it would be, because I would also think that Charlotte Flair, getting involved with Becky Lynch in a 3-way for the other title would be a lot of fun too. So I don't know, but I would be shocked if we didn't see Becky Lynch at this pay-per-view too.
I would have Becky on Raw. Yeah. I would have her go towards Charlotte, Rhea, that environment. I think that could be huge.
I think if Rhea retains against Charlotte, which I think she will, I think it'd be cool to see Becky versus Rhea. Now, granted, it doesn't have the prestige of the other 3 matches that we're talking about, but correct me if I'm wrong, Fred or Nick, I think it'd be the first time they've ever touched before, right? Becky and Rhea Ripley.
Yeah, well, I think it's also cool because we know that, I think Ronda Rousey's pregnant, isn't she? So we know that she's not going to be in it. But honestly, and no disrespect to her, obviously, but like Rhea Ripley's a much better wrestler than Ronda Rousey. I don't think anybody would argue that. So you have the potential for an even better triple threat with those 3 than you would with the 3 that they had at WrestleMania. So I'm actually, the more I think about it, I'm more aligned with you guys in that sense. I'd rather see that triple threat. And I'd rather see Sasha and Bianca Belair against each other one more time.
I would be cool, if Becky came back and faced Charlotte. There's a lot of history there, obviously, but I think there would be a cool story if Rhea keeps it. She's defeated Asuka, she's defeated Charlotte. Nobody's beat her since Mania, right, for the title, and she cuts one of those promos. I've beaten everybody, nobody can beat me. I've been unstoppable since WrestleMania, blah, 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 blah. And then that music hits. And we will have a crowd by the time this build-up would happen. Whatever city gets that, holy shit.
Be
awesome.
And I want to bring up 2 other matches, though.
Please.
So I was thinking to myself, okay, I thought, because before any of the rumors with Cena, I was envisioning Edge versus Roman 1-on-1 at SummerSlam, right? That was my idea because, that was supposed to be a Mania originally before they made it the triple threat. We haven't seen Edge, blah, 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 blah. So now I'm like, okay, well, Edge has to be a part of SummerSlam, right? Who does he face? And I'm trying to, they could do Edge and Drew, they teased it going. So then I started thinking Edge and Seth Rollins.
That's what I'm thinking.
Because Seth Rollins, he's going to definitely be done with Cesaro. Obviously, we thought maybe then Seth and Roman, right? Based on but that wouldn't be happening. So Edge and Seth, which has been talked about as a dream match for a couple of years since Edge came back. People have been talking about that. They could do it now. So we could have Edge versus Seth, which would be, huge for both of them.
I don't see them going like you're talking. Like we've just booked WrestleMania, or we just booked SummerSlam, and all 5 matches could main event a WrestleMania. Like very seldom is the card that stacked.
I think I'm so excited.
They could possibly hold on. Let me just throw something, and this is way out of left field.
Okay.
Yeah.
But, if you're a nostalgia fan such as myself, you remember the great matches that Edge and Rey Mysterio had. So what if it's Rey Mysterio and Dominic against Edge and maybe a mystery partner or somebody else in a tag team match to try to dethrone him? Because we know, as it left off now, Edge is a heel. So could we see in another wrestler teaming up against Rey Mysterio and Dominic? I'm not a huge, at this point, I feel like everything Rey Mysterio can do, but Rey Mysterio and Edge in the ring together are money, and I think it'd be a great way for Dominic to get the rub from Edge. I could see him going in that route. It's not a WrestleMania main event caliber match like Edge and Rollins, but I think they'll save that because it is a WrestleMania caliber match. But I don't know. There's a lot of things that you can you could play with here, but I do think Edge will be in it. To your point, Fred.
Oh, he's definitely going to be in the show. I think they're going balls to the wall, and I see them going Edge versus Seth because my only thing with the tag match, it sounds good in theory, but unless Christian's coming back, which he's not because he signed a contract with AEW. I mean, who's really the big appeal, right, for Edge to team with?
Now, that would have been cool. Like, if Christian, he did the Rumble, and then he did end up coming back, and we got Edge and Christian team. I could have seen Edge and Christian versus AJ and Omos on the Raw side, because they're a big tag team. So I could have seen something cool with that. Maybe I could have seen Edge and Christian versus Dominic and Rey. That would have been cool too. But yeah, I mean, because I see the Raw tag titles in a decent profile if AJ and Omos still have them.
Yeah.
So we got to think about something or do we finally get them versus RK Bro?
That's definitely happening.
You know what I'm saying? Because I thought they were going to win on Monday, and the Viking Raiders won, right? So they're doing that to get I think we'll finally get RK Bro versus AJ and Omos at SummerSlam for the tag titles.
Yeah, I think that's the other match too, right?
Yeah.
When we're making fantasy booking here, RK Bro has been on a tremendous upward hill here, right? They've been doing some really nice things the last 2 months or so.
They've been building it up,
and I think it's going to come to a head against AJ and Omos at SummerSlam. And not only will it be a good build-up, but it's actually going to be a really good match too, right? I mean, AJ Styles is probably still the best wrestler in the world. And then you got Randy Orton, who's obviously a ring general at this point, and Riddle, who does some really great things in the ring. Nick, are you excited to see this match?
Yeah. I mean, I am, and I actually started watching. So I don't know if you guys watched it yet, but just one quick point on Riddle. So I was watching the Rob Van Dam Legends documentary, and he does a promo, and he sounds just like, if you close your eyes, you literally can picture Riddle saying the exact same stuff. And I'm such a RVD fan, I feel hypocritical in saying that I can't stand Riddle. I just think it's the bro. It's the elongated bro.
Say it again, Nick. You're a Riddle fan now?
No, I said I feel hypocritical saying I'm not, but I'm still not until he changes his theme song and stops calling all of his moves something bro or the bro down.
I love that we got that backstage segment at WrestleMania. I was hoping for it. We got it. It was better than I expected. I was we talked about this at Romania time, but marijuana references. But he flat out talked about rolling paper. It was just great. I'd love to see them tag, but RVD, he may do one match, two, here or there, but he won't come back for a run. So, but that would have been really cool.
We got about 8 minutes left, right? 7 minutes left, and I want to ask you guys each. And I'm putting you both on the spot here. I want you to each come up with one more dream match that you want us to get this year's SummerSlam.
Wait.
That we haven't talked about.
Well, we got down to the TikTok. I mean,
what's another? This isn't even a dream match. Just another match that you think is realistically could happen.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think on the SmackDown tag title side. I mean, what they can do with Rey and Dominic. Obviously, right now, they're feuding with They were feuding with Ziggler and Rude. Now the Street Profits are involved, and the Usos are involved. So there's a lot going on. So I'm interested to see, the Usos' involvement. at SummerSlam. You know, will they have a match? Will they just be involved with Roman? I could see the Street Profits kind of like being on Cena's side, like going with Cena and like leading up, you know, while the Usos are with Roman. I don't know. So I'm trying to think what other match. I mean, God.
Nick, you got any while Fred's thinking, talking out loud?
I can't think of a match, but I would like to see Bray Wyatt involved in some capacity. I can't think of a match yet. I'm not sure. I mean, they just about ruined this guy in every possible way, but
there's still life holding on for him.
I don't know.
I still love him, and I think I always will. But you know, I'd love to see him.
I love him. But my confidence in him actually getting finally like booked properly is pretty much gone. I've kind of lost all confidence in that after. I wasn't mad at that finish.
Triple H,
huh?
You know, blames Triple H for his booking and feuds with Triple H.
Oh, dude, that would be unbelievable.
Well, he may finally win that one.
I mean, Triple H can't beat. If Triple H has to beat that guy, I mean.
Wait, I'll throw another one out.
Triple H versus Fiend would be really cool. I mean, I'm not gonna lie.
That'd be cool, but I just don't see it happening. But I'll throw a match out here that maybe isn't the most exciting on paper, but I think it'd be a really good match, and it'd be a cool, and it involves a return here.
Got my attention.
Natty and Tamina defending the tag team titles against the Bella Twins. What do you think about that?
I'm with it. It puts a spotlight on the tag titles. I'm with it.
Yep. No, Nick, you don't want to see the Bellas at all?
Nah, I don't think anybody does. After they got booed at WrestleMania
because they wanted Becky Lynch.
I just don't think the Bellas are as popular as you think.
Okay.
With the avid WWE fan, I think they're very popular. You know, mainstream people. I like them, but I just don't think they're as popular.
Not as popular as Eva Marie.
No, not even close to Eva Marie.
For those of you who may don't understand, is me and Nick were talking offline about who's more popular. And I said, and I'm going to argue still, that Eva Marie maybe is one notch below the Bella Twins as far as popularity and mainstream fame is concerned.
The Bella Twins, so just to paint the picture, because obviously it was me and Miguel who were arguing about this. Miguel and I argue every other day about wrestling-related things. It's just what we do. We just argue. But sometimes Miguel will say something so, I don't want to say dumb because I know Miguel is smart, but he'll say something so dumb that it's not even worth arguing. And when he said that Eva Marie is as famous as the Bella Twins, that is just about as bad as it gets, because the Bella Twins are far and away more popular than Eva Marie. I mean, they are. I just can't. I mean, their net worth is $20 million. Eva Marie's net worth is $2 million. So right there, they're 10 times more famous.
Okay.
They also were on Nickelodeon.
Eva Marie was making her way up there. I will say that when she left WWE, I mean, she was getting hot when she was still there, and then when she left, she was doing some other stuff. She was on the red carpet with The Rock. I mean, she's definitely had her moments, and I'm very excited for her return. But that's another thing. Do you think she'll have a big involvement at SummerSlam? I mean, they've hyped it up.
The way they're building her up, she fucking better, man.
But then again, with WWE booking, but she's getting all this hype. Well, this is only June. By August, she could be fired already. We don't know.
Maybe her and Alexa Bliss in a match. You know?
Yeah. What are they doing with? I mean, because it's interesting. I'm glad that they chose Shayna, because I think Shayna should be in a bigger profile.
Talk about somebody that they ruined.
Wow.
Poor Shayna. R.I.P. to Shayna Baszler. But, guys, this is a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, we booked the territory, so that was cool. SummerSlam's a sellout. They were hanging from the rafters.
Yeah.
Fred will be there.
I'll be one of them.
This was a lot of fun. I enjoyed doing some fantasy booking. I hope every single one of these matches happen. Watch, probably none of them will, right? Which will be a joke on us. But SummerSlam, we're about 2.5 months away, I'll say, still from the event. Mm-hmm. So plenty of time between now and then. What I do know is fans are coming back in a month. I cannot wait. Raw desperately needs fans
back. A month from this Friday, SmackDown.
This Friday, yeah. Raw desperately needs fans back. And I'm counting down the final 4 or 5 episodes of Raw beforehand. But We'll be back next week, everyone, with our Hell in the Cell predictions. As always, you can catch all of our shows, TruExactRadio.com, as well as anywhere the TruExact umbrella is for anywhere you get your podcast. Just type in TruExact Radio, and you can find us anywhere with podcasts. We'll be back next week, gentlemen. As always, thank you for your time. Appreciate you both.
Pleasure.
Yep.